Hayy ibn Yaqzan. That name might sound a little mysterious, right? But it's actually the key to a philosophical puzzle that has captivated thinkers for centuries. It's the story of a person raised in complete isolation, who, just by using reason, figures out the secrets of the universe. So today we're going to unravel how this one single idea was told and then retold, creating this incredible conversation across history.
Now, this book cover right here holds a massive clue for us. The title, of course, is Hayy ibn Yaqdhan. But it's the subtitle that really gives the game away. The 4 texts and their creators. And that tells us we're not just looking at one single story. Oh no, we are dealing with a philosophical legacy.
Okay, so before we can even begin to understand the texts, we have to ask the most obvious question. Who, or maybe what, is Hayy ibn Yaqzan?
I mean, really think about it. What was so powerful about this figure that he inspired not just one, but 4 brilliant minds across totally different eras to write his story? What was the big idea that he represented?
Well, in pretty much every version of the tale, he's basically a feral child. He's raised in total isolation on a deserted island. No parents, no society, he doesn't even have language. He's a completely blank slate. And from that starting point, just by using pure reason and observing the world around him, he becomes a philosopher. You see, he's not just a character. He's really an intellectual myth.
The key to this whole myth isn't just the character himself, but the repetition, the fact that there isn't just one version of this story. And that brings us to the riddle of the 4 texts.
4. That is the magic number here. You've got 4 different authors in different centuries, all taking the exact same basic premise, this isolated child to explore the absolute deepest questions of human existence. Now, this wasn't plagiarism. It was a philosophical conversation that literally spanned centuries.
So Hayy ibn Yaqzan isn't one character. He's more of a concept, a philosophical vehicle. Each text, from the early versions by thinkers like the great Persian philosopher Avicenna to the most famous one by the Andalusian physician Ibn Tufayl, well, each one represents a new attempt to answer the same fundamental question. What can a human mind achieve all on its own, completely cut off from civilization? It is, in its purest form, a thought experiment.
And that is the very definition of a thought experiment, isn't it? You create this imaginary scenario, a child raised by gazelles on an island, not for some fantasy story, but to strip away all the variables of society and culture. The whole goal is to see what's left. What is the pure, unfiltered essence of human reason and spirituality?
But this story isn't just about the isolated child. It's also about the minds who imagined him. To truly understand these texts, we have to understand the creator's journey.
The curator of the book that we're drawing from is Dr. Youssef Ziedan. He's a modern scholar who recognized the power of this intellectual lineage, and he's the one who brought these 4 distinct versions together so that we can trace how this philosophical conversation evolved over time.
And this really gets us to the why. Why did these philosophers, from Avicenna to Ibn Tufayl, feel this need to write their own version? Well, each was building on the last, refining the thought experiment and asking these timeless questions for their own generation. And a modern creator like Dr. Ziedan plays a totally crucial role too. He's the curator, revealing all the connections in this incredible intellectual chain.
So this is a fascinating piece of intellectual history, no doubt. But why does it matter to us today? What can an ancient philosophical tale about a boy on an island possibly teach us about our modern world? Well, as it turns out, quite a lot.
Because the questions right at the heart of this story are the exact debates we're still having today. The question of nature versus nurture. Are we born with innate knowledge, or are we shaped entirely by our environment? The tension between reason and revelation. Can logic alone lead us to the ultimate truth, or is faith essential? And finally, that huge conflict between the individual and society. What happens when a person's pure, reasoned conclusions clash with the traditions of the group? These are not historical questions. They are fundamentally human.
So I'll leave you with this little invitation to conduct your own thought experiment. Strip away everything you've ever been taught, your culture, your education, all your beliefs. If you were left completely alone with only your senses and your mind, what ultimate truths do you think you would discover about the universe? And more importantly, what would you discover about yourself?